No, let me ask again. Who did not get a treat when you walked in the door because you're going to need it right now? Raise your hand really high. You can choose between a tomato, a grape, or a piece of chocolate. But don't eat it. Don't eat it. Oh, no. No, don't eat it. Just hold it. Carry him around here, Jill. Bring them on up here. Keep your hands raised, everybody. We need a lot up here. Come on. Oh, look at you, slow pokes. Come on. I can't choose because I have to talk, but just hold it now. Don't eat it. Don't chew it. Don't bite it. You can look at it. You can smell it if you want. There's somebody up at the back table that needs one at the sound booth. Anybody else? We all got some. Okay, just one, y'all. One. Just one. Just one. You have to choose. You have to choose which one. Okay. Oh my gosh, it's like a party in here. Come on down, get your one. All right. Everybody got theirs? Christina, you got yours? Okie dokie. So what I want you to do, everybody hold it up. Just take a look at it, eye level, so you can see it really good. All right. Make sure that the chocolate is unwrapped, please. Just take a minute to do that. Unwrap your chocolate. Unwrap your chocolate. But don't eat it. No, don't eat it. No, just hold it. Okay, anybody need a replacement because you ate it? Okay, now you got it? Everybody got yours? Okay, if you've been around here a few years, you've seen me do this before, but it's good exercise. All right, so what I'd like you to do now is not eat it, but just put it between your teeth very gently. Just hold it there, okay? Just keep it there between your teeth. There, I should hear no talking. Okay, you got it between your teeth? Yeah. Okay, so this is the season for this. If you've been looking outside, you've been seeing squirrels running everywhere with nuts in their mouths, right? I actually I won't go into the long story because you'd be here a while, but I will tell you that someone suggested that I put nuts out on my patio, so I kind of just strung pecans out on my patio, and then I watched, sure enough, this squirrel came and jumped up on the lawn chair and looked right in the window at me. And then he started picking up the pecans, and he ran off with them. And I am always so impressed. How you doing? Don't chew your nut yet. Okay. I am always so impressed with them that they're able to walk for yards and yards and up trees and down into holes, holding that in their mouth and never chewing it. Isn't that just amazing? Don't you chew it. Not yet. Okay. So it's like they know that they're going to need this later. And so they have this willpower to be able to just hold it in their mouth to carry it, because, they need their hands to run. And then get to where they're going and bury it and come back later and get it. You know how that works, right? You want me to tell you that story again? Okay, good. All right, well, wait a minute. So I thought we could kind of emulate what they do right now and see if we cannot demonstrate that same will. Because if it were me and it were a chocolate chip cookie, I'd be a goner. There's no way I could hold it between my teeth. Or especially like a bite of filet mignon, you know what I'm talking about? Okay, so do you get the idea? How you doing? Speaking in tongues now. All right, so good job. So I will let you go ahead and bite. Good job, everybody. How many of you failed at this task? Raise your hand if it was gone before I said the word. Liz is the only, okay.
It wasn't gone, but my teeth are sharp.
All right. A few failed, but we understand, don't we? Okay, yeah, we understand. And I just wanted to make a really important point for our topic today. We're talking about two of our spiritual qualities that carry us from darkness to light. And the qualities today are will and strength. Did you see where you used your will to decide which piece of food to choose? How did you decide when you had the choice between chocolate and a tomato? Wouldn't everybody just go for chocolate? Yes? No? Maybe? Okay, so you exercised your will when you decided which one to choose, and then to hold it there for that long and not bite into it, that took some strength, didn't it? Yeah, okay, Melinda's got it going on over there. So I want you to think about this today, that when we apply our spiritual powers, we can actually apply them as a human being, and we do that more often. So think of it in two different levels: spiritual version of our powers and the human version, which we use most of the time. And when we're talking about our power of will, that's a power where you've heard it said that we've all been given free will, right? Right? Okay. So, yes. So you have a choice at any given time who you want to be, how you want to express yourself, what you want to choose. It's free will. That is one of the strongest laws of the universe from some of my spiritual teachers. Strongest law of the universe is free will. And the question is, how do you see yourself using your power of will? Most commonly, as I said, we don't even think about it. We just act as humans do, and we use that power of will that is not necessarily for our good. Would you agree? Like today, some of you might have wished that you'd chosen a tomato, but you just couldn't help it. You had to have chocolate today, right? You understand how that goes. I'm guessing that some of you parents have had a moment in your life where you said, boy, honey, how did we end up with such a strong-willed child? Anyone? Anyone? Just my parents? Yes, I felt their pain over me a few times. Strong-willed child or willful child. And sometimes those strong-willed children never grow out of it. Now, I did. I'm just as easy as pie. But, you know, there are others who we grew up into adults and we're still pretty strong-willed. Have you met any of those people? I know, not you, right? Yeah. Okay. So it's natural for most human beings to exercise their human will first. We don't even think about it. It just comes out of us because that's what we've done. We've trained ourselves to insist on our way, to fight until we get what we want, to make sure that all of our needs are met first, because it's every man for himself, and you need to make sure that you get yours first. Can you agree? Again, not you, but you can agree that others go through this. So there's a category of us that live that way, and then there's another category of us that struggle to use our will. Do you know what I mean by that? You might call them weak-willed or wishy-washy. They just can't make a decision. It almost looks like they're abandoning their will and just not going to be able to make a choice today, sorry. Well, guess what? You think you're not making a choice, but not making a choice is actually making a choice. You are using your will. Oh, you say, yeah, okay, well, that's interesting. Even if you're not consciously making that choice, you're letting your subconscious make it for you, which is to do whatever you've been doing for years and years and years. Even when you want to do something well, sometimes your will just takes over. This is one of my favorite scriptures from Paul in the book of Romans. Can we take a look at that? I almost can hear his Jewish voice in there. For I do not do the good I want to do, but the bad that I do not want to do, this I cannot stop doing. Can you relate? Why is that? When we have free will, why is it so hard to do what we want to do? I told you this. Can't you remember from 2 weeks ago what Derek Lanka said? Let's listen to him again. You always choose in the direction of what you believe benefits you more than the alternative. Think about that for a minute. Or you always move away, which is also a choice, from what you believe does not benefit you. So see how faith and will tie in together here? It has to do with what we believe and then what we choose from what we believe. So just like faith, we all have faith. Even when you say you don't have enough faith, it's just where are you using your faith? And the question is, in the case of will, where are you pointing your will? Because you have free will, it's up to you. And then there's God's will. And a lot of us would say, what chance do we have when there's God's will? If God's going to insist on God's will, then, who are we to say what we want or why we're not getting what we want? I didn't get the job, I didn't get the house, I didn't get the girl, I lost my health. I got too sick to go to the party. Must have been God's will. I know you've said this. May not have been the party, but you get the idea. So I'm going to just offer today, what if this has nothing to do with God's will for your specifics? Like whether you wear that sombrero at the party last night or not was not God's will. Maybe it had nothing to do with that. You guys have no sense of humor. I'm working my best up here, you guys. Okay, well, my point is here that God doesn't care about the specifics. And God's will does not mean it's God's will to punish you. It's not God's will to withhold from you. It's not God's will to make you do something that you don't want to do, because free will, remember? It can't be both. God can't keep you from doing things that you want to do and then say you have free will. Do you hear that? Okay, so stop blaming it on poor God. I'm not kidding. God really gets a bad rap. Thank you, whoever laughed at that. Yeah, so here's what I think of when I think of God's will. God's will, I would say, is God's nature. Whatever God's nature is, that's what God wills to be. And we can either make way for that to happen or get in the way of that happening. We get to interrupt God's will. Isn't that interesting? Wow. I just got that. We can interrupt God's will because God seeks to express, but seeks to express through us. So let's think about this for a minute. What is the nature of God? Let's look up here on the screen and just see a few, because we can't list all that is infinite. Love, light, life, strength, creation, peace, wisdom, freedom, ideas, abundance, allowing, acceptance. These are all God's nature. Do you see that? Yeah, that's all God wants, is to be God, to express itself. And in some cases, like this physical dimension, that requires vessels, extensions of itself to do that. Hey, that's you. So this is kind of a cooperative exercise when we talk about using our will. I love the way that Sig Paulson described it here. He said, the will of God is the irresistible urge of universal good to find self-expression in and through its creation. Isn't that cool? To just picture, to just feel that there's this universal urge of good seeking to express itself through everything that it creates. Good, seeking to express good. You are one of those creations. You are made in that image and likeness of God. So you are one of those avenues through which the divine will seeks to express. And we've got the free will power to decide whether today I am going to be an extension of that divine presence or I'm just going to be human. And you get to choose from minute to minute. When we live from the human will, you're going to know it. You're going to know it because of how it feels. It's going to feel selfish. It's going to feel fearful. Anything negative or being less than divine good is basically your human self expressing its will. And what that will do is when you have challenges and you respond with your lower will and you fight against it or you complain against it, there's not going to be, yes, I'm going to tell you this, here it comes. There's not going to be a punishment for that, no matter how badly you used your will on earth. When you get back into just spirit, you're back to whole and complete. There's not going to be a punishment for how you used your will. However, the only thing we're really going to learn, if that's the way we live our life, is what God is not. Do you see that? If we don't allow Spirit to work through us in divine will, then when we do use our will from the lower state, all we're learning is what God is not. When we are missing a really huge opportunity to experience what God is. Doesn't that sound better? Listen to what, duh. Okay, so here's from Vera Dawson Tate. God's will is that each species of creation shall fulfill itself according to its own divine image or pattern. What's our image? Made in the image and likeness of God. That's what we, expressions of the Christ, expressions of God, are here to be, of our own divine image or pattern. So let's give some focus today on what the power of will looks like when it's coming from our higher self. Up here on the screen, it's some of the ways that Unity would describe will from a spiritual perspective. You choose, or you intend, or you decide, there's the verb, based on spiritual principles, divine ideas, divine laws, spiritual truth. Our spiritual will be the best expression of the Christ that we can be and fulfill our divine potential. No small challenge, right? I totally agree. But think of Jesus in the garden before he went to the cross, saying, "Not my will, but thine be done." And in that moment, I don't think of him as giving up on the plan. I don't think it was an accident. I think we all choose the time of our death, and I think this was not him throwing over his will, and not getting his way. It's him raising his will to a higher spiritual perspective, him raising it to a level of consciousness where now Spirit can really express through me. You don't think a resurrection is a pretty good demonstration of that? So he wasn't giving up, he was training up his ego. And that's what each one of us is called to do on a day-to-day basis. When you feel that ego pulling you into a temper tantrum, it's your chance to say, "Whoa, Charlie, come on back here. Let's take a look. Let's think about our options here." You're not weakening your will. You're teaching your will what is the potential here. Just give us some time. You're instructing it. And my hunch is that when you do that often enough, you're going to naturally be drawn to your good. Just automatic pulling to your good because you have started by using your will for good. So Jesus, I think, said it this way in Matthew 19. He said, "Everyone who has left houses or brothers or sisters or father or mother or children or fields for my name's sake will receive 100-fold and will have eternal life." So think of that metaphysically, is that when we are able to use our will for the highest good, aligned with Spirit, it doesn't matter what your ego says, but I'm giving up. It doesn't matter. If you can stop that temper tantrum and instead go, "Nope, I'm turning my will in this direction, because not only will I find and express the divine will, I'll run into that which is serving my highest good and everyone else's as well." Can you see that? It's going to come naturally to you so that you don't have to be in the way of God. Now you can actually be the way of God. I would say, out of what I just said, the real work there is remembering to stop. Don't just leap in. You know what I think of? I spend time in parks where people bring dogs for walks, and they pull up in the parking lot, and you can hear them barking inside the car. And they go, just a minute, and they open the door, and boom, they're gone. Because they didn't put the leash on first before they open the door. That's what our will is like. Just a minute, but this time we put the leash on ourselves first and turn ourselves back to what is the divine will in this? What would serve the greatest good in this when I'm making my decision today? How do we transform to a spiritual will? And it's one of the practices that we use regularly in Unity, self-observation. Most of us don't observe what we're doing, we just do it in life. This is where we can catch ourselves and make a change in our decision, is to pay attention to what's about to leap out of us when we really just want to bring it back and just take a minute. And for those of you who are like, I don't know, stop for a minute and say, but my spirit does. my soul knows what's needed here. The Christ within me will do that work. Many times we don't decide because we're terrified we're going to get it wrong. But what if we can believe that the presence of the divine already knows what is our highest good? Our work is just to listen and find it. Be still and know. And as we said earlier, we're going to have those days where we want to do what's right, and then we wind up doing what we know, what's easy. We do what we've done a million times before, what's good for the ego. And that's another opportunity to say, if I could choose again, and don't beat yourself up about it, just choose again. And if you can't do it in that moment when you're laying in bed that night thinking about it, just say, okay, so next time I get the chance to do that, what would I prefer instead? What will I choose instead? This is us shifting from being willful to willing. Feel how more relaxed that is? To stop being the child and get to a choice point where we turn towards spirit first. So here's some affirmations we can say together up on the screen. Together. I am willing to consider a higher choice. I'm willing to live the best that I know. I choose to think, act, and respond to life in alignment with spiritual truth. I will meditate daily. I will listen more and speak less. I will look for the good. I will let peace begin with me. Those are some pretty good choices. And one of my favorite scriptures here from Job is agree with God and be at peace. In this way, good will come to you. So agreement is a form of choosing, is it not? Choose to agree with God. What does God choose? What do you think God chooses? Love, light, peace, joy, wisdom, kindness, strength, power. Choose those elements of the divine. And this goes hand in hand with our second power today of strength. And I know, I think Mark went out, but Mark was telling me the story of wearing, what's his name, Moani? Maui. Okay, Maui from the movie Moana. Yes. Okay, anybody know who Maui is? Big, tough, strong guy. Yeah, so he will tell the story better, so make him tell you the story today. But it had something to do with wearing a big, tough, strong costume, standing in the driveway handing out candy to kids. Hey, you guys, this is Maui. First he said you get candy if you guess who I am. Oh, you're Maui, I can tell. He said, yeah, but I didn't go to the gym this week. And the kid said, is that where the fat comes from? Okay, so sometimes we don't feel quite as strong as we want to, even though we appear to be stubborn and muscular. Sometimes we hold on to those beliefs that say, I have to hold on for dear life, because if I don't hold on with all my strength, I'm going to run out, or I'm not going to get what I need in the first place. That's how we use our strength from the ego's point of view. Or sometimes we say that our strength is going to come with how much money we have in the bank, or how much power, control that we have over other people, and that usually is only temporary, doesn't last very long. So if this strength of our humanness is so strong, why does it keep failing us? Just think about this. A lot of times we impress people with our strength, but we have a totally wrong motive. If we're trying to use our strength over someone else, the motive might be, I have to protect myself. So when that kind of motive is coming out of you, then you're telling the universe that you either need protection, and it will show you reasons why you'll need that, or you're telling the universe that there's not enough protection, you should manage getting yourself hurt in some way. Sometimes our want to is just not big enough, and that's why our strength fails. You know how you start on something and then you can't finish it because you didn't really think it through in the first place? There's another reason. You don't even have a clear intention. But how often do we have to be strong because I told someone I would do this for them when you don't even like it or you don't want to do it? So these are all good reasons to stop and pay attention. If my strength is failing me now, what's behind it? Why am I doing this? Number one reason, people think when you've got muscles, you're strong. How many of you know the story of David and Goliath, from the Bible? It's probably one of the most famous strongman stories there is, where Goliath, the champion of the Philistines, was 10 feet tall. The armor that he wore was 126 pounds. That's a lot, you guys. I don't think I could pick up half of that. He also carried a fence rail for a spear, and at the end of it was a 15-pound spearhead. And he would stand there at the line of the Philistines. He was representing who? No. He would stand there at the head of the line of the Philistines, and he was taunting the Israelites because he was ready to take them on by himself, and he could. And nobody from the Israelites was saying, okay, I'll take you on. Nobody was doing that until little David, the shepherd boy / musician came in with his little flute, said, what's up? Why are you guys all so afraid? Okay, probably not in that voice, but his only real fighting experience was lions and tigers and bears, oh my, because he used to shoot with his slingshot. That probably wasn't going to work here. But the armor that the king offered him was too heavy. He couldn't even wear it. And all he came up with was his sling and his stones, and he's like, I'm going to take you out. And I know it doesn't say that. But here's what he does say. You come at me with sword and spear, but I come at you in the name of God. What was his strength? Yes, his belief, his strength was a faith in God. Do you see how they're tied back together again? His faith was a strength in God. And again, he did just use a stone and took him out, which shouldn't have worked. But we're looking at this metaphysically. When you look at Goliath, think of, now there's a really big problem. And we've all had at least one in our life. And now we get to choose to use our power of will, how to use our strength. And if we're going to try and take this on with money or control, we're probably not going to win. So what do? We put our strength in God. We allow that ever-present, omniscient, omnipotent presence be the source of my good. May not even need to touch the Goliath. May just give us another way out. Who knows where Spirit will take you? But as long as you're trying to do it on your own, good luck with that. And think more about what spiritual strength looks like. So here on the screen, this is what we talk about in unity, that strength spiritually is to endure, to stay the course, to persevere, holding on to, here's what? Divine ideas, truths, spiritual principles, and laws, spiritual laws. To be obedient to the best that we know. I am obedient to the best that I know. Say that with me. I am obedient to the best that I know. Just get up out of bed in the morning when you're not sure which direction to choose or how much strength you have, and just say, I'm just going to be obedient to the best that I know, which is the divine mind, the divine spirit. And believing that I am an expression of the Christ. That's my role. So let's do some call and response here to help you see how strength and will actually tie together. I'll start and you follow in the orange print, okay? If will decides on the best that we know, strength, is it up there yet? Okay, let's do it together. If will decides on the best that we know, strength holds us to it. Strength accomplishes what will has chosen. Will chooses the right thing, and strength gives us courage to see it through. Strength empowers us to walk our talk and feel our fear, while will chooses to do it anyway. And when will decides not to fight, strength holds our tongue. Because don't we need some strength at that point to hold our tongue? It's beautiful how those two powers work well together if we remember to use them. So imagine spiritualizing your power of strength by paying attention to what your motives are. When you're attempting to do something, what's your motive behind it? And remember that the highest motive we can have is to step into our divine potential and allow our spiritual self to come through. Our motive could be to press towards our heart's desire instead of just the obligation. Our motive can be doing that which feels good to our heart. That motive could be something that has a very clear intention, where we know where we're going and we can stick to it because we know where we're going and it's aligned with our values. These are the things that make us strong, is to understand what's behind what we're doing. Hold on to that scripture from Philippians, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And that means you're not depending on material supply and you're not depending on somebody liking you better. And it's not about letting go or letting your ego's insecurity run off with you. It's also looking towards your true source, which is God, in those hard moments. We talked about this either last week or week before. Don't rush. Pause. If you want your strength to really work for you, stand still. Just hold on here for a minute. Two of my favorite scriptures from Isaiah. In repentance and rest is your salvation. In quietness and trust is your strength. Those who wait upon God get fresh strength. They spread their wings and soar like eagles. They will run and not get tired. I can't help, there's this. Don't get tired. They walk and don't lag behind. It doesn't make sense for our strength to just stand there and do nothing, but it takes strength to stand there and do nothing sometimes. Would you agree? Okay, so sometimes we just have to say, whoa. Choose non-resistance instead of, I know you're not going to be punching anyone, but non-resistance is sometimes one of the hardest ways to get what it is that our heart desires. And I learned that, and it worked for me in such a profound way when probably one of the darkest days of my life, I got a letter that said, no, we're not going to let you into seminary right now. And I about lost my mind. And it was like Saturday I must have gotten it, and Sunday morning I was standing outside my minister's office saying, I don't care whether you got a sermon to preach or not, you're going to tell me how to get through this and get my way. So I was using strength, using my power of will in a way that was not going to serve me. Although he was one of the most loving guys. He's like, come on in. So non-resistance. He was non-resistant to me. I came in, I told him the story. They said I haven't been to enough schooling. I don't have time to go back to school after. And he said, let's just take a look at this. And we just paused. We thought about it, and he looked over my letter. He said, that really doesn't make much sense, does it? No, it doesn't make any sense. I don't know what they're thinking. He says, well, Kitty, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to talk to them, and I also want you to go home and write a letter about this and this and this, and then we're just going to calmly send it back to them. And I said, okay, if you think it's going to work. I don't think that's going to work, though. I think I should just go there. I had lots of things I was going to do. But I finally got it. I wrote the letter, I put it in a FedEx envelope because it was not going to wait one more day than it needed to. I'm sitting on my bed with my FedEx in my lap, and I took a breath, and I waited on God. And I said, okay, here's what I know. If it's for the highest good, I didn't say if it's God's will. I said, if it's for the highest good of my life right now, to wind up in seminary at this point in my life, then all the needs that I will have to get this done they're going to show up when I need it. If it's not now, it's going to show up later. But right now, I'm just going to wrap this FedEx envelope up in love. I'm just going to love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. And then I'm going to surrender it out to the mailbox and also to the universe. And just let love carry it every step of the way. And every person who touches this will surrender to love. That's what will come upon them when they touch this envelope. And long story short, I got in. But my point is here, fighting back would have probably gotten me, I would not be here today. Yeah, that's probably one of the results of that. Non-resistance combined with that energy of love, surrender, allowing. That's probably my definition for love, is allowing. I just allowed the universe to know what the heck was for the highest good for me. I knew that even my spirit knew what was for the highest good for me. It was my little twitty ego that was just having a fit again. So I learned a lesson in that spiritual strength can choose for us in a way that looks like waiting, but is actually one of the most empowering ways to move forward in our life. Will you just trust that? Will you trust that? So all these spiritual powers that we're talking about for these few weeks, their purpose is to reveal our divine potential. There is so much waiting to express through each one of us if we will just allow that to be the way of God. So when it comes to choosing, using our power of will, we're really wanting to use the Christ consciousness in us to choose. We can decide when we're using the power, the spiritual power of will, we can actually decide to do the hard thing for a change. We can decide to do the new thing that we've never done for a change when it's spirit guiding the choice, because spirit knows where we need to wind up on the path. So let spirit in on the process. And then as you decide to do the hard thing, trust your spiritual strength to see it through to the other end, to get you to the far side of this. I can do all things through the Christ who strengthens me. And that means slowing down, getting still, holding in consciousness all the good that God is in me, and see where it takes you. Are you up for that this week?
Yes.
Okay, Kevin's with me. All right. So let's try a little bit of that in our meditation, shall we? I'll just invite you to pause and be still in your chair. Feel the strength beneath you, as if it's the entire planet supporting you. I feel the strength of God beneath me, supporting, moving, lifting. I lean back into that strength. As I breathe and slow down, I give myself permission to make decisions from the highest point of view. I choose knowing God is my source. I choose knowing the Christ in me is my strength. I wait for love and wisdom to show me the way. That is my strength. As I join my heart and mind with the divine, there is no fear in me in making that choice. I choose to be the best that I can be expressing the fullest of God in me. And it is not I, not the human, not the ego, it is the heart of God that lives in and as me. I make a way for that heart to beat in me. I make a way for that strength to keep me going, when in truth, it is not I that does the work. I'm grateful and open and allow divine will to make itself known in me, and divine strength to see it through to the end. For this is the truth of my being, the life of my spirit. And so now I allow it to be. And so it is. Amen.